Hello and welcome to Game Theory. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. Today, Bryce Simon is joining me with a very, very special guest, Andrew Schlecht. And we're going to break down all of the 24 and under players that we ranked over the course of the last 2 weeks in draft form. We've gotten Andrew. He's going to join us to draft 10-player teams for each of us. And we're going to decide who had the best team. And you guys are going to get to vote on it. It's going to be great. But first, let's hit the music.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Way downtown.
Bang! Bang! What is this going to be? Wow! Are you kidding me?
Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. But if you watch the tape, what you will see completely orchestrated this game. Bryce, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, Sam? How are you? 2 inches of rain out here in Southwest Kansas. Got to watch some college football, high school football scrimmage tomorrow night. And I get to podcast with two of my favorite people, you and Schlecht, doing this under 24 draft. It's good times, man. Vibes are good.
It's going to be beautiful. I'm really excited to do this. Andrew Schlecht is here. He's in the middle of the screen. He gets the beautiful spot here. Andrew, what's going on, buddy?
Well, we got some rain coming in this weekend, and I just want Bryce to know that I got my yard completely mowed, ready to go. So did that for you. Was thinking about you when that happened. So
I think I might be podcasting with the two people who take best care of their lawn in NBA media. Andrew, I've seen photos of that riding mower with him really taking care of that area. And then Bryce, my goodness, you care about lawn care more than anyone I've ever seen. Whereas me, I sent Bryce a photo of my lawn care. It's fine. I just have a smaller yard because I live in the city, but it's all good. We're happy here. We're in a good spot. We're happy Oasis is back together. You know, that's the most important thing here. Coming back, debating whether or not I want to go to England to see them next summer. We'll see. My wife and I were debating doing a Europe trip next summer anyway. So, give me your favorite Oasis song. Andrew, you're the one who I think will actually know who Oasis is. Bryce has no idea, I would bet.
I mean, Landslide is the best one, right? But I'm not a huge Oasis guy. It's probably I'm probably a little bit young to really enjoy Oasis. But
Landslide isn't even Oasis. That's like Smashing Pumpkins, isn't it?
No. Right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Oasis is like else? Wonderwall and Champagne Supernova.
Yeah. Champagne Supernova is what I meant.
Yeah. I'm a Don't Look Back in Anger guy.
I'm not an Oasis guy. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. Bryce, you have no idea what we're talking about right now.
Oasis
did not make it to Kansas from Britain.
I Googled it thinking that maybe at least one song I would recognize, or maybe one of their tunes were on, Rock Band. That expanded my musical horizons back in college, playing Rock Band with my teammates, but no such luck.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, I sent you a text the other day about the Somerton Man. Did you ask your wife? Did you?
I haven't yet. Shit. Okay. I'll text her while we're podcasting and we'll get a live response.
All right.
Okay. So we're here. We're going to draft 24 and under NBA players. Bryce and I have been talking about these players for 2 weeks now. We obviously have our list that was released to, I'm sure, I haven't looked at my Twitter mentions to actually know the answer to this, but I'm sure universal acclaim with no disagreements whatsoever. And I'm sure everyone is very happy with where their favorite player is ranked, right?
Yeah. What's funny to me is looking at the videos and seeing which ones get watched a lot and some that don't, and all of that. It's interesting. But yeah, I've checked my mentions a couple times. There's a couple players that people have defended very staunchly, and I appreciate that.
Who are the players that are getting defended?
I would say LaMelo and Şengün are the two that we've taken the most heat for. I feel like.
Not surprised.
I feel like LaMelo has gotten a lot of defense.
The reason for that is because we accidentally double dipped the LaMelo stuff because McMahon and the Hoop Collective guys also talked about LaMelo. So I think that Hornets fans are a little bit angry about LaMelo right now. But
Yeah.
hey, we all want the best for LaMelo at the end of the day. Okay. So the way we're doing this draft is, unlike Bryce and I, who drafted essentially for the next 5 to 10 years, right? Who is going to have the best career out of these players? Andrew, Bryce, and I are drafting a team that can succeed next season, as opposed to down the road in the future if you're building like a real roster, right? We're basically saying, which one of these 3 teams that we're going to build, if you put them out there and they played each other in 7-game series, who would win said 7-game series and who would win the quote unquote championship of these 3 teams? And that is for the 2024-25 season. As with our 24 and under list, players born in the 2000s and later are eligible. That is the easiest way to explain it that we have found. Shout out to our guy on Twitter that said, hey, this is the easiest way to explain it. I believe it was you and Ross, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to him. Made it so much easier to explain. We are trying to not just draft the best possible players. Like, we're not just drafting, 1 through 30. We're trying to create the best team possible here. So there were a lot of primary creators near the top of our list, right? Some of those guys might slide down a little bit as we're trying to create teams that fit together and make sense with one another. Anything else that you guys have thought about as we've gone through the preamble of trying to create these teams?
I will reveal no strategy.
You will reveal no strategy. Okay. So I texted Bryce yesterday. I have not texted Andrew this. I will go last because I feel fine going last.
Hold on. Is this a snake draft?
Yeah.
It is a snake draft.
Oh, well, I know why you want to go last.
My theory was that there were 2 guys that, people would really want.
Yeah.
I think
So
it works. I think
said,
it works.
hey,
I
I'm
think it
willing
works in
to-
this sense. Because he's going to get the advantage of, like, 3 and 4 is going to be a huge advantage, but I think 1 and 2 balance that out.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
But I don't get another pick until like 9 then either, if I go last, which is the other issue.
That is true.
So my theory was that I would be at a disadvantage by going last.
Listen, I'll be
Because
mad
I
no
wouldn't
matter
get
what
either of
pick
the
I
top
get.
2.
So we can just go into it. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to flip something. I'll flip a coaster.
You have like 3 billion DVDs or Blu-rays behind you that you could flip.
We don't flip those, Bryce. Okay. So
okay.
we've got a Pittsburgh coaster here.
Wait, Pittsburgh,
Heads.
just the city of Pittsburgh, not Steelers, right? Like that'd
Yep,
be
that's
completely.
the skyline of Pittsburgh.
Okay, I can live
And
with that.
then the underside of the coin.
Are you gonna break something? Don't break anything.
I'm not going
That's
to break
happening.
it. Yeah, okay. So
Make sure
call
the
it.
blind
I have not
cat's
seen
out
it.
of the way, Sam. Don't hit the blind
Andrew,
cat.
call it.
Okay.
Heads or tails?
Heads.
Which side was heads? Pittsburgh, the city.
side.
Okay. It was tails. Bryce, do you want first or second?
I actually want to go second. I want to see what Schlecht will do here.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so Andrew is going first. Bryce is going second. I am going third. As you will see when we start to do this, I will have a graphic up on the YouTube screen for everybody to follow. I will periodically read through and update the teams because this is an audio medium, obviously. So we will make sure that everybody is updated on what the teams look like. Okay. Andrew, you are up at number 1. Who are you taking?
With the number 1 overall pick in the we're trying to win games now draft,
Trying to win games now draft.
I'm taking Anthony Edwards, number 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, I set my team up for the best vibes possible with this guy. So, and
I'm
also
into
lots
it.
of national TV games because they want Ant on national TV. So,
The people want to see Ant.
yeah.
That is correct. That is absolutely real. And I think this is a fun pick. So why do you think Ant is the most likely player to help you win games next season?
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in the playoffs. I mean, obviously, he gets to the conference finals and things seem to slow down a little bit. But the guy plays Team USA this summer. He gets the experience of going all the way to the conference finals, and he's still outrageously young to be doing the things that he's doing. I mean, he was getting like MJ comps in the playoffs this year. And, if people saying like, is he going to be the best player in the league next year? That was happening when they were beating Denver. And so I'm going Edwards. I think that he's going to have another jump in him too. I just think the kind of player that he was this past year, efficient, plays both ends, can have the ball in his hands, can play off ball some too. I just think like he's clearly the guy to me that's just ready to win basketball games of all these guys. And for the most part, a lot of these guys aren't ready to win games. But I think that Ant is.
Real quick, if this wouldn't have been this year, like how many years out would we have had to make this for your pick to have been different? Or would it have been?
Oh, I mean,
like if we would have said for the next 3 years, win as many games as you can the next 3 years, does that change?
Yeah. I mean, you go Wemby.
Okay. So the context of this year made it Ant.
100%. Yeah. I mean, the guy's already had playoff experience. He's got 2 years of playoff experience. There's not a lot of guys that have that on this list.
Yeah, no, I don't mind the pick.
Same.
I think that there were two very clear guys at the top.
Yeah.
That you want to take and that you very easily can build an awesome team around. Okay. Bryce, you are up at number 2.
Yeah. I mean, so when I thought I might have the number 1 pick, I was like, I'm going to take Victor no matter what. And then as I thought about it more today, I was like, man, if we're doing this year, is Ant maybe the pick? So that's why I wanted to throw it to Schlecht, see what he would do. I'm obviously going to take Victor here. And that sends me down on a really interesting path in terms of team building, depending on who's still there whenever I come up with my next picks. Also, and you kind of mentioned this, Sam, so I looked at it, I guess, not to help you guys a little bit, but like the center position isn't necessarily loaded on this list. And so even if it wasn't an automatic Victor is one of the top 2 guys, just getting a center on my roster is pretty important to me.
So I do think that this would have been my number 1 pick for what it's worth. And largely it is due to like the positional scarcity of the center position and like getting a guy that can be like your defensive anchor in addition to being like a potential floor spacer, rim runner, everything that you kind of want. I think that having all of those guys, as you guys will see coming up here with my picks, I think having all of those skill sets is incredibly important in today's NBA, as I've talked about at length, I feel like on this show for many, many years. I think I probably would have taken Victor at 1, even though if you made me bet, like Anthony Edwards probably would have been the guy that I don't know. Like I would bet that Anthony Edwards has a better chance to make the first team All NBA this year. Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I was thinking like All NBA this year. Do I actually think Wemby is going to finish higher on All NBA this season than Ant? And I don't know that I believe that, but also we need to change that to number 2 before we get absolutely cooked. Whenever when you update your picks.
And the truth is I'm going to get cooked for not taking Wemby number 1 anyways, but I'm willing to take
I don't think it's like I would have went Wembanyama also, but I don't think it was. I think it's at least a discussion. Like honestly, if we didn't have 30 picks to go through, I would love to debate it a little bit longer, but it's it's already 10:30 you and I's time and we have 28 picks to go plus trivia.
We got to unfortunately zoom through this thing. Okay. At number 3 and number 4, I am at the turn.
Okay.
I am going to take Zion Williamson and Chet Holmgren. And to me, this is like the most fun possible combination. I tried to think like, okay, what combination of like guards and bigs could I take? What combination of perimeter player and center? What combination of X, Y, and Z could I take? Ultimately, I decided Zion can kind of do all of that. Like we saw point Zion extensively this season, which kind of made me think, okay, so I get the best of both worlds here. We get to see Zion with like a real actual floor spacing big, which is something that he's been crying out for, maybe not publicly, but probably, hopefully, I would imagine that like he wants a floor spacing big to give him even more space to be able to operate on the court. I think that Zion with Chet makes a ton of sense on offense. And then on defense, I love the idea of having Zion and Chet together because, okay, I can now put Zion in this like kind of roamer, Scotty Barnesy kind of role, and then have Chet be the guy who's like going out and guarding in ball screens, right? And then when teams try to attack Zion, I have Chet behind him defensively to be able to defend and slide around and do everything that we like on that end from Chet. Andrew, as the foremost Chet Holmgren expert that we will find, how do you like this team construction here to start?
I personally like it for my team because we know that we won't have to worry about Zion in the postseason, so we're all good. Yeah.
By the way, Zion in the play-in game last year, like completely dominated.
He was a monster. How did he do in that first round though? How was he?
Didn't go super well.
Yeah. No, I mean
super well.
that he is. I mean, that is definitely the archetype of a big that would be perfect with Zion. I mean, and I think that Chet, he clearly played. I mean, he played 98% of his minutes at center last year, and I think this season we're going to start to see him showing his versatility. Like, I think he's going to play mostly center, but I think we're going to see more of him guarding wings and getting out on the perimeter a little bit more on both ends, which he like sneakily did pretty well last year when teams tried to put him on an island. He held up really well. And so I think that they want to try that a little bit more this year. Obviously, you get the Hartenstein in there that allows you to do that. But yeah, I think Chet is going to surprise a lot of people this year. I think he was obviously great last year, but I think that he's got a big jump coming. I think that this year they've really set the team up for both Chet and J-Dub this year to be able to kind of rise up.
I totally agree with you. I think that what we're going to see I think people haven't really recognized how crazy hard those guys are in terms of like work ethic and just like overall competitiveness. They didn't like see the success this year and go, oh yeah, like it's all going to be sweet now. No, they like want to win a title.
Yeah.
They are the two kind of people that you want to put next to Shea in order to grow and mature and continue to be, to get everything you can out of those players. Okay. Any thoughts on Zion? We didn't talk a lot about Zion here, like outside of the jokes, but to me, like Zion is, a dominant potential all NBA player next year. Like once they moved him to more of a point role last year, he was a complete monster.
Mm-hmm. If he was healthy, I think he would be the number one pick in this draft. If like we knew he could be healthy and we could see what he could do in a playoff series, I think he's obviously like the number one pick, but I just don't trust his body to just make it through 82 games.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. Okay, Bryce, you are up at number 5.
Yeah, so I wanted to build out my front line with one of those two guys, and obviously neither are available. There's a guy that can kind of fit in, but I like some other guys. I think position value I can get later. I think I'm going to surprise some people here, and I'm going to get the driver of my offense and a guy that really did it in the playoffs this last year. So I really trust that as Schlecht continues. I'm going to take Tyrese Maxey here to drive my offense.
Okay.
I'm going to go Tyrese Maxey.
So I'm not going to lie to you. I was kind of hoping to get Maxey on the turn.
Yeah.
Again, maybe that was crazy, but like I was kind of thinking I might. What made you go with Maxey over Halliburton and a few of the other guards on the board?
Yeah, I mean, just what he's done already. We talked about this, right? Whenever we did our rankings, we're coming off of playoffs where he averaged 30 a game on 48, 40, 89 and almost 7 assists. And then if you go, oh, well, that was just 6 games. Well, the 2 playoffs before that, he also averaged over 20 a game on pretty good percentages. He was good in the regular season. Like, he just is a guy that can really drive offense. We talked about the speed, the floater game, all of that. I think he's a little bit like, I really considered Halliburton here. I think Halliburton's injury and not kind of how last year ended is a holdup for me right now. And, we still had him top 8 in our rankings, Sam.
Yeah. And we
And
said at the time we might have fucked up and put him too low.
we may have been too low. And at least one of those guys was based on projection moving forward, not who he is right now. And like Paulo was definitely a guy I considered here, but I think for this next season, I might trust Maxey just a little bit more. So I think I trust Maxey to come in and be the guy on ball for me offensively.
Yeah, I don't mind. Look, Tyrese Maxey, when we talked about his playoff numbers last year, they just like completely blew my mind. Andrew, do you know what Maxey did in the playoffs last year?
I listened to the show. I don't have them memorized, but I did not remember them being as good as you guys read them to be.
29.8 points, 6.8 assists, 5.2 rebounds on 48, 40, 89. Only 2.2 turnovers against the Knicks team that is like quite good on defense, right? A lot of switchable defenders on that team. In the years prior, the 2 years prior where they won playoff series, and he was playing like a slightly smaller role in the offense, he still averaged 20.7 points on 46, 39, 93.
It's insane.
Like, we might be at the start of a player in Tyrese Maxey that might be like the true playoff killer of his generation. And I don't know. I don't hate this pick. I don't know if I would have done it, but I don't hate the pick at all. I think it's a completely reasonable pick here. Andrew, you are up at number 6 and 7.
6 and 7. I am going to take Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Williams at 6 and 7. So versatility, offensively, like shooting is so important in the NBA today, and just guys that can hit the 3 ball with efficiency, and also just everybody can create. And I think that Halliburton and Jada both play well enough off ball as well, that I just think this trio is going to be tough to deal with as like your 1, 2, and 3. And defensively, I know that Halliburton's got issues, but I think that J-Dub and Ant can handle a lot, and you can hide Halliburton in a lot of ways with that trio. So that's my guys.
As the resident Jalen Williams expert on this show, I don't know, like you and I might be close on that front with how much we both love Jalen Williams, but I will give you the floor given that you have selected Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
What do you love so much about him?
There's just really no deficiency in his game. I mean, he does everything. I mean, he scores at all levels. He defends. He really, the only thing, and really the next step for him is just getting to the free throw line, which, we've asked him about and I've talked to him about, and he certainly wants to take that next step and is still just kind of baffled at how easily Shea does it. But he wants to get better. And, he was at 19, 4 and 4 last year in the regular season, shot 42% from 3. He needs to get his volume up. That's another thing that he could do to be a better player and to get up to closer to 25 points per game. Is it instead of taking 3 threes per game, he needs to take about 7. I think that's probably more appropriate for where he is as a shooter. So and he's just a ridiculous teammate too. Like, everybody loves him. He brings great vibes to the team. There's really no deficiency in his game. That to me is like the number one thing, especially in this NBA, where even having like a 3-and-D player is almost hard to fit on an NBA roster today. Like, you have to be able to do a lot of different things. And so versatility is kind of the name of the game in 2024-25 in the NBA. And J-Dub is close to the top of the list as far as wings go with versatility.
Yeah, I don't mind it. And Tyrese Halliburton is an unbelievable driver of offense. It's kind of an interesting fit next to Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
Maybe as you fill out your roster, we'll talk about those two together on defense and some of my potential concerns there. I have a feeling that you might have to get a real defensive stopper there to be able to do some things.
I just want to start taking bigs just to screw Schlecht over, where it's like, really, this is you want Halliburton and then Anthony Edwards, who gets backdoored every fifth possession. Well, good luck protecting the rim without Wemby, Chet, Mobley, or Derek Lively. Good luck.
Right. I've got a list. Okay, you can leave me alone. The draft is not over yet.
I know.
The draft is not over yet.
Like,
I love
how much do I just want to screw with you and then make my team completely unplayable because of it?
I will say that, like, looking through the potential drivers on the perimeter of offense, Schlecht has 3 guys that I was frankly hoping would kind of fall to me. As we kind of go through this, we're through 7 picks here. Andrew took Anthony Edwards at 1. Bryce took Victor Wembanyama at 2. I took Zion Williamson and Chet Holmgren 3-4 at the turn. Bryce took Tyrese Maxey at 5. Andrew then came back at the turn and took Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Williams 6-7. Bryce, you are up at number 8.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to. It'll be interesting where you go the next couple. Like, it looks like Point Zion is it going to be a real thing for your team moving forward. So this is where this thing gets interesting, because if I don't know that this is the best fit. I haven't hashed this out here in the moment, even though I'm going to do it. But Paolo Banchero's too talented for me not to take him right here. And he still fits into my rotation at the 4. As I build this thing out, maybe he ends up being the driver of offense as I stagger him into the second unit. So this will allow me to just get floor spacing 3 and D guys in the second unit and then play him with those. But he's just too good. And again, Schlecht said it at the top with, playoff basketball, stuff like this, that this is a kid that's coming off 27, 8.5, and 4 assists in the playoffs on 46, 40, 76, gets to the free throw line a lot. So he's just too good for me to not take him right here.
I also think this is a really good fit for Paolo. Part of what happens with Paolo in Orlando is that this kind of he gets a lot of bunched up kind of help defenders in his area because Orlando isn't necessarily the best shooting team. Well, you now have a spacing center in Victor, and you have Tyrese Maxey at number 5, who is an unbelievable floor spacer and who could really, run some creative 4-1 screening actions, 1-4 screening actions with Wemby spacing. Wemby in the dunker spot is like a lob up. You've created a lot of really, really interesting situations here as a core group. So I am now up at number 9 and 10. And this is a little bit what I was worried about. I'm in like a bit of a tricky position here where I have to decide, do I just go like super big and switchable and like go all out on defense? Or do I try and find like shooters, floor spacers, and build like a fairly normal roster around Zion and Chet? I would like to build like a fairly normal roster around Zion and Chet. But the talent on the board, if I'm trying to win for next season, does not necessarily dictate that.
Yeah.
I am going to take Cade Cunningham.
Wow.
And Franz Wagner.
Okay.
And I'm going to go super big around Zion. I'm going to, part of the reason that so Scotty Barnes is the other guy that I very strongly considered here. The reason that I'm going with Franz over Scotty is because I think that Franz fits what my idea is of my team a little bit better than Scotty on defense. Scotty is best in like that free safety roamer role and not like an incredible on-ball defender. Franz is much more solid on the ball, much more solid as a cutter, as a overall off-ball player in general. And on defense, I think he is a lot more solid as like an on-ball. Sorry, Franz is a bit better of an off-ball offensive player. And frankly, I don't know about you guys. Who do you think gets guarded more as a shooter? Franz or Scotty?
Probably Franz.
Yeah.
I think Franz.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Like, be it like the white dude thing or whatever, right? Like,
Sure.
I just feel like he gets guarded more than Scotty does from behind the 3-point line. And on top of it, on defense, I think that he plays that like solid wing defender role a little bit better than Scotty does, who plays that like roamer, free safety role a little bit better than like being like a solid on ball defender. So to me, I think Franz kind of fits the team construction a little bit better. And I just need to bet on Cade at the end of the day with this roster construction. Cade can knock down shots off the catch. He's an awesome driver of offense. He's big. I now have like a team that is going to be super switchable. I probably have a more switchable team than either of you guys do, given that you guys have Halliburton and Maxey. I'm going to be able to do a few separate. I'm going to be a little bit more versatile on defense potentially. Thoughts? Give me any thoughts here, because this was like what I was a little bit concerned about at the turn, and why I kind of thought I was at a disadvantage by going third.
Listen, I know you're bragging about your switchability here, but Jalen Williams has won more games in one season than Cade has his entire career.
I would have taken Jalen Williams if he was available over Cade. So unfortunately, that is not a
Jalen Williams has also played with more 40% 3-point shooters in one season than Cade has in 3.
Is that true?
I don't know. I just kind of made it up.
It's probably not false. And then Franz, like the other thing with Franz is like a proven winner at this point to me. He's one of the best all-around wings in the NBA. 6'10". He can guard anybody 2 through 4, really 1 through 4 at the end of the day. Has been back-to-back seasons worth 10 wins, according to dunksandthrees.com, which I believe, outside of like, I don't even know if Anthony Edwards did that during his sophomore year. He might be the only player like that has done that, back-to-back 10-win seasons. Maybe Halliburton as well. But any of the advanced numbers tell me that Franz Wagner is like this unbelievable, perfect kind of fit for this group as an off-ball player. So I like the fact that I get an awesome off-ball player to play with Cade and Zion. Even though I considered honestly also playing like combo Scotty and Zion at point guard, and then like having the other one just like kind of switch off. But I think I have enough ball handling with Cade, Franz, and Zion to be able to make it work.
Yeah, and Franz is just like one of the highest level connectors in the NBA.
Yes,
too.
Okay, Bryce, you are up at number 11.
Not excited here. not because there's not good players. So I feel like I don't want to say too much, and I feel like I can fill out my wing room with guys a little bit later. So I'm going to double down in the front court one way or the other. And so I don't know if you can put this person in the starting lineup. I might ask you to change. It's probably not.
Yeah,
how
we can adjust as we go.
Yeah. I don't love this. I'll figure it out later. Hopefully, I'm going to take Scotty Barnes here and then see how I can hash this out as things progress.
All right. So your team has a strange fit right now.
It has a super strange fit.
Explain to me what your thought process is on that.
So my thought process is, as much as like Barnes fans are going to freak out, like bring Scotty off the bench. And when I do that, I can bring him in for Paolo, and Scotty and Wemby defensively is going to be a lot of fun because, as you mentioned, Scotty is this off-ball roamer. So you have Victor playing at the point of attack. You know, we've talked about this, and then you have Scotty roaming off the ball, then like that, I feel pretty good about things defensively there. What I don't have right now is very good floor spacing. And so this is an issue I'm going to have to start quickly addressing. The other thing I don't have is good point of the attack of defense on the perimeter. So I need to be able to balance this out with moves coming up in my next few picks.
Okay. Interesting. Andrew, you're up at number 12.
And 13.
12 and 13. I'm taking Derek Lively, and I am taking Trey Murphy for
Pelicans fans are gonna this Trey Murphy was another one I took a lot of crap for, was us not having Trey Murphy in the top 24. Sam.
So
I think these are aggressive picks from Andrew here. So explain.
So essentially I've got my 3 guys that are going to be my usage players, right? Like all 3 of those guys are eating up all the usage. So now I just need guys that can space the floor or fill a role. Derek Lively was an amazing player in the playoffs in year 1. What's he going to look like in year 2? What's he going to look like with three guards like this on his team? I mean, he was a great short roll passer, great screen setter, he's finishing everything around the basket. I think this guy's going to be ridiculous, and especially just as a role player with good passers all around. And then Trey Murphy is just an incredible shooter. Good enough defender. He's not some great defender. He's not some primary defender, but I think like he can help with his size and versatility and just shooting. You know, if you have Tyrese Halliburton, you have Anthony Edwards, like you just need shooting on the court. And so give me a screen setter, give me more shooting on the perimeter. I'm trying to put together a team that makes sense.
Okay. Your team makes sense. I would agree with that. There are a lot of guys you left on the board.
This is where it gets interesting, because like you're gonna have to do this too. Like
this is your own board. I've made my own board of winners.
Oh, I love it.
So there's a lot of people that are left off of my list that are on your list that are just that I just wouldn't even consider if I'm trying to win games.
We're gonna get
I mean our list, the 24 under 24 list that Bryce and I made, is completely different than the thing that we're doing here,
100%.
because we're trying to win a game next season. As opposed to in the future. Like,
and you can only have so many primary guys, right? This isn't the Olympics where you can put all these guys and figure it out for 6 games. Like we're trying to put a team. Like I say, that's where like I'm running into an issue all of a sudden. So like I understand the idea behind here.
I do too. Bryce, you are up now at number 14.
Yep. So I will start to go down that path. I will take Jalen Suggs here to.
I was hoping to get Suggs on the way around.
I would like to start to round out this backcourt with that point of attack defender and a guy that shot 40% from 3 last season. I'm very happy to get him here.
Okay, so now your backcourt is Tyrese Maxey and Jalen Suggs. You also have Scotty Barnes and Paolo Banchero, and frankly, Wemby, who was, a 32% three-point shooter.
Yep.
This feels like a big bet on Jalen Suggs continuing to shoot the ball at a significantly high level.
Right now, again, there's a chance that Scotty Barnes is not in my final starting lineup.
Yes, that is accurate. That is true.
So there are some.
Just to remind Raptors fans, I don't like Scotty as much as you think I do.
Yeah, right.
Like bench, don't worry.
Sitting his ass down. Maybe only Paulo you're sitting down, right?
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. You guys haven't drafted LaMelo or Şengün or any of those dudes yet.
And I won't be doing it, so don't worry about me.
Sam needs another guard, so he's going to take LaMelo right here, right?
I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I haven't decided.
Cade LaMelo makes a ton of sense as your backcourt. Do it.
So I'm not going to do LaMelo here.
I wouldn't either.
I don't like the fit of Cade and LaMelo, and I like Cade a little bit more than LaMelo. So I would say that Cade is the guy that's going to have the ball in his hands. Also, I would be building an exceptionally injury-prone team if I went with LaMelo between Cade, Zion, and LaMelo. I actually think I just kind of can't take LaMelo. And Chet even like having missed a season already, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Chet is injury prone, but you know, that reality does exist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm not going to lie to you. I just think Brandon Miller's better than Trey Murphy, like as a basketball player right now.
He's really good. I'm just trying to win basketball games next year. But if it even went beyond this season, if it were like for the next 2 seasons, I would have taken Brandon Miller. But I'm a big Murph man. I can't. I think that he's just like the perfect role player wing.
I am going to take Brandon Miller at 15. Okay. I think Brandon Miller is the perfect player for what I have right now as a floor spacer next to Franz and Zion, right? I love the idea of having Brandon Miller and Chet and hopefully Franz like getting guarded at least out there. And like you have to pay attention to him as a cutter. I like the idea of having those guys who can really space the floor. I also like the fact that by doing Brandon instead of like LaMelo or some of these other guys, I like the idea that the middle of the court is going to remain open for Cade potentially and for Zion Cade actions to be able to get to the mid-range if either of those guys want to get to the mid-range. So in terms of like overall team fit, I think Brandon Miller is the guy that makes the most sense, even though it is interesting, like trying to think about LaMelo Ball in this context, right? Like I would imagine most Hornets fans think LaMelo will impact winning more than Brandon Miller on their own team next year.
You can get them both now. He can be your driver of bench scoring.
So what I'm actually going to do, man, this is hard now. I have to make the choice that you and I were kind of deciding between Şengün and Mobley now. I kind of think that, oh man, that's hard. I definitely want one of the bigs because I think that if either of you guys were to take a big, or if both of you guys took bigs coming back, I would be like fairly screwed in the front court in terms of size. And I want a little bit more size and rebounding.
Jalen Duren would still be left. You'll be okay.
That's good on me, Bryce. I'm okay. It's hard because I think Şengün and Holmgren is like this incredible combination. Is like a potential fit where even you could run some like Zion point lineups with that duo if you wanted to like sit Brandon Miller. But also like I think Mobley fits better kind of with both guys. Like I think that you could play Mobley at the 5 with Zion, you could play Mobley at the 4 with Chet, and it's a little bit more versatile. Huh. That's a difficult choice. I am going to take Şengün to run my second unit. That is my pick. I am going to take Şengün at 16 because I want the slightly better offensive driver. I think I have defense, sort of. Maybe that was a mistake. Look, I'm not going to go back on it. But
listen, these are all 24 under 24. We all have defense, sort of.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Şengün. I am. I'm gonna go Şengün at 16. So before we talk through that, we've gone through 16 picks. We're about halfway through the draft. I have Cade Cunningham at 10, Brandon Miller at 15, Franz Wagner at 9, Zion Williamson at 3, Chet Holmgren at 4, and Alperen Şengün went 16th overall. Bryce has Tyrese Maxey, who went 5th, Jalen Suggs, who went 14th, Scotty Barnes 11, Paulo Banchero at 8, Victor Wembanyama at 2. Andrew has Tyrese Halliburton at 6, Anthony Edwards at number 1, Jalen Williams at 7, Trey Murphy at 13, Derek Lively at 12. Bryce is up now at number 17.
What do I want to do? What do I want to do? What do I want to do? So I'm going to take a wing. I'm just trying to decide which one. I'm going to take Keegan Murray here as a floor spacer on the wing and another defender to add. And you can go ahead and piss off all of the Raptors fans and slide Scotty into one of those backup wing positions and Keegan into the starting lineup.
Oh boy, that's not what I want, Bryce.
Sorry.
All the Raptors fans think that I hate Scotty Barnes as it is, and this is just not going to go well for me. Explain your thought process on Keegan.
I thought you were mad because it was going to be a pain to move those guys around. I was like, well, we can leave Scotty.
No, it's totally fine.
So I was honestly like, it could have been Keegan, Jalen. I really can consider Jabari Smith Jr. here. Like there's just, I felt like to round out the roster with what I have the driving force offensively with Maxey. I have the defensive anchor with Victor. I have another on-ball guy with Paulo. I have Scotty. So now I just need like true 3-and-D guys. And I feel like right now with Murray, we've seen him shoot the ball at a very high level, almost 39% on 6 attempts. Even in the playoffs last year, the points a game went down, rebounded the ball well, though, 38% on 4.5 attempts. I think he continues to take bigger defensive matchups at the point of attack. So between him and Suggs, I feel a lot better about that. Maxey can guard the third guy. Paulo can, a little bit off ball, take those matchups. And then obviously Victor cleaning everything up. And then especially when Scotty's in the lineup, I feel like I have a pretty good defensive lineup there.
Okay. Andrew, you're up at the turn, number 18 and 19.
I almost considered this duo my last go around, and I still have them both available now. And I'm very excited that I can just have all of them. And so I will take Evan Mobley and I will take Jaden McDaniels. Both like superstar role players that can really help your team win. Mobley.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Part of the reason I took Şengün, I didn't want to say this at the time. Part of the reason I took Şengün was to block you from Şengün.
Yeah. Yeah, it was going to be Şengün or Mobley here for me.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah.
And your team is very skinny and thin now. Listen, and I'm thinking that I can just like kind of bully you a little bit.
Listen, that's only if you guys make it to the postseason, okay? You guys,
we're only playing each other.
We're only playing each other.
It's a 3-team round robin.
I do have a very skinny and thin team, but you know what? We're okay with that. We're okay with that. Mobley showed that he's like the dude's ready to play center. Like let the guy play center. Like he's not going to play with Lively. In fact, I might put Mobley in the starting lineup and have Lively come off the bench. He was totally fine with that last year. So I think that, for the vibes, we may have to do that, even though Mobley was taken later. I may have to put Mobley in the starting lineup and bring Derek Lively off the bench. But I just need, McDaniels is more shooting and more perimeter defense. He's probably our best point of attack defender now.
McDaniels for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like getting him this late in the draft too. And again, like I took care of all of like the usage rate stuff at the beginning of the draft with Tyrese and Edwards and Jalen Williams, and you can stagger those guys in ways where like you those are basically your 3 ball handlers the whole time. You don't even really need a backup point guard necessarily.
Okay. So you've taken Jaden McDaniels and you've taken Evan Mobley. You're up now, Bryce, at number 20.
I just realized that I'm the one that made the comment about centers at the top of this. And guess who didn't get the second center on his roster?
There's some guys here.
Are there?
There's maybe one guy here.
Is there? So I'm going to pivot here, and I'm just going to draft another long floor spacing, good rebounding forward to play with Scotty. And maybe we go a little bit small since you guys, especially you, Andrew, are skinny in the second unit and really the front court in general. I'm going to take Jabari Smith Jr. here.
Okay.
Jabari.
Explain more.
So with Jabari and Scotty in my second unit, I think those two can hold up. They both average 8 rebounds a game. And so I'm thinking I can play those two guys together in the front court, really good floor spacing. And now I can start to build out the rest of my second unit in the backcourt and on the wing. But like, truthfully, of the guys I kind of have left here, I had to get some size. And I realize that's not like true center, obviously. Like, I understand that. But if Jabari goes off the board, then I'm looking at, I don't know who. And so I put myself in a little bit of a corner here with that one by not getting a big guy earlier.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm up now. I'm definitely taking LaMelo Ball here. I understand that like my team is a bit injury prone, but I am assuming that one of these guys will stay healthy enough between him and Cade that they'll be able to run the show. So I think that kind of takes care of my biggest kind of concern there. Now, I'm a little bit mad at Andrew because I was really thinking that Jaden McDaniels is going to slide down to me. And I was like really ready to just go LaMelo, Jaden McDaniels. It does create a bit of a quandary on that end now. So with that being said, I'm going to take like an all-world, like versatile defender here and take Amen Thompson.
Interesting.
I want a guy who can basically play any position, is my theory. I think Amen can guard 1 through 4. I think he's a crazy, like playmaking, rotational defender. The shooting is a real concern, but with like LaMelo in a bench unit, if you could play like LaMelo, Amen, Brandon Miller together with like, if you have a floor spacing big in Chet Holmgren that you can kind of mix and match with, I feel like that makes a little bit more sense to me in terms of roster construction with Amen. Really, I just wanted defense. I wanted like a crazy point of attack, help defender. And I think there is a case that Amen Thompson has as much defensive upside on the perimeter as any player in the NBA right now. If things really broke right for Amen Thompson, he could be like the most versatile, monstrous defender that we have in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really like, what is the jump he make in year 2, right? Like if, if is he ready to do these things next season? I mean, it's quite possible that he is. He was very much going to be in play for me here whenever I came up after you. So I think this is more than reasonable. And to be honest, like LaMelo dropping to you at 21 is kind of crazy based on the talent, right? Like LaMelo driving offense for you in the second unit. Like you have LaMelo and Alperen driving offense in your second unit, and then you get, Amen fits right in between those two guys, right? As terms of moving off the ball of those guys, you could do some fun like Alperen, Amen ball screen stuff, and yeah.
Yep. Look, I think that Amen and LaMelo here. Here's the thing with Amen. After Amen like really got in the rotation near the end of the year, let's even say from like mid-January onward, Amen Thompson averaged 12 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists with a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio and shot 56% from the field and played like all world defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's way more ready to contribute than what other people might, maybe. I think he was frankly probably a bit more of a helpful player last year to his team than Brandon Miller. I just think Miller is probably a little bit more poised to take a bigger leap this year than, what would be normal, let's say, given the shooting, given the ball handling potential, kind of everything that he has. Also, younger players, it's harder to find shooting, right? So I really like the idea of taking Brandon Miller at 15, but Amen was an awesome, like useful player who helped winning last year because of the defense. Okay. Bryce, you are up now at 23.
So I'm going to continue and see how I can build out this second unit. Just guys kind of the same size and versatile and rebound to make up for that. I'm going to take Jalen Johnson here with this pick.
Yep.
And, shot it a little bit better last year, 36%, averaged almost 9 rebounds. We talked about this whenever we did our breakdown. He can really pass. So now I got a couple guys that can really pass, whether that's Scotty and him with Jabari spacing the floor. If I stagger Paulo into the second unit, and now it's him and Paulo with Jabari spacing the floor. So I'm kind of interested what I have here with those 3 guys right now with Jalen Johnson, Jabari Smith Jr., and Scotty Barnes.
I don't mind it. Andrew, your thoughts on Jalen Johnson and some of these other picks that we've made recently?
I'm a big Jalen Johnson guy. I think that he's just he's the versatile forward that you want in the NBA today. Just as the passing, and I think his shooting has gotten a lot better. And so, yeah, I think he's going to be awesome this year. I think he's one of the reasons that you believe in this Hawks team moving forward is just his progression, which has been, I don't know, a little bit shocking to me. I didn't know that he was going to progress to be this kind of player coming out of the draft. So I'm a big fan. Man, I really like him as a player. He's just one of those, he's a puzzle piece. It's like, how do you fit everything else around him? You have to have a lot of shooting. Last year he played a lot of, down the stretch, played a lot of center. It was like a great screen setter. Just his basketball IQ is so high that you just count on him to just figure it out, even though the shooting is a problem.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's kind of what I'm banking on with this. So, all right, Andrew, you're up now at the turn, 24 and 25.
This guy's probably gone very underrated in this draft and is probably underrated just in general, just because he had such a strange season last year. But I'll take Darius Garland with my next pick.
Yep.
Just kind of hoping to get him on the turn.
Yeah, just a weird year for him. And I know I don't necessarily, I said that I've got all my guys with usage, but this is just almost like a value play at this point, because he can shoot the ball. He's a great passer. I don't love his size for position, but he's just kind of a do-it-all guard that he's had quite a bit of experience himself. And so if we're talking about winning next year, that's probably about as good as you can get for a 6-man that has experience in the NBA.
Yep. Number 25, Andrew.
Number 25. This is tough. I don't know what direction I want to go here. I do need more size, but we're talking about the list is not great of guys left with size. Walker Kessler is one of the only guys left here. Man, this might be a little bit of a reach, but I believe in this guy's basketball IQ and just his ability to win games. And he's a weirdo rebounder from his position in Brandon Pajemski.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
There's a lot of rumblings out of the Bay Area that they have some expectation that this guy's going to take a leap this year. And he just kind of has the game of a winner with his versatility. He can shoot it. He can pass. Like I said, he's just a strange rebounder at his size and always kind of has been. He just has a nose for the ball. I just like Brandon Pajemski. I just think that having a guy like that off your bench, I think that he is a guy that can help drive winning.
Interesting duo of players. You continue to go quite small on your team.
It's true.
I'm going to be interested to see what you do with the next set of selections. You are up now, Bryce, at number 26.
Yeah, so now I got to fill up my backcourt. I don't know how I'm going to completely do this. I'm going to go Devin Vassell here, though, and then see what's still on the board when I come back. So Vassell had a pretty efficient season last year, 19 and a half, 47, 37 on pretty high volume from three, good from the free throw line, averaged almost 4 assists the last couple of years combined. So I think this continues to fit into a lineup where he can space the floor enough, can move the ball a little bit. He's not the biggest guy, but 6'5". And so, yeah, I like this as one of my backcourt players here in the second unit.
Okay. So I have my last 2 picks here. As far as I can tell, we've taken all of the top 22 in the 24 and under list, except for Scoot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to take Scoot here. We're trying to win games next season. As you guys can see, I definitely have like a type in terms of the big, versatile wings who can dribble, pass, shoot. This guy was not much of a shooter until last season. But if we're trying to win a game next year, I think Denny Avdia is a versatile, really, really sharp defender who can also hopefully shoot, not a volume shooter by any stretch, but a guy who can hopefully knock down some shots, can certainly dribble, can create in transition, and gives me just like another versatile chess piece off the bench. I feel like with LaMelo and Şengün, I have 2 position lock guys. LaMelo is very ball dominant. Şengün is, certainly a big. With Thompson and Denny, I have these versatile chess pieces that I can kind of move all over the court. And that feels like a bit more of an interesting, sharp player type to have. Now my final pick. I feel like my team probably needs a bit more shooting. More than anything.
I agree.
I kind of wanted Vassell here. I was really hoping that it would be like I could take Denny and Vassell and just like kind of have that combination that works. This is where things get a little bit tricky. I have my versatile defenders. I'm going to take Tyler Hero here at number 28.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just take another like dynamic offensive guy off the bench. Has won a 6th Man of the Year award. I think that that's the kind of player that my roster lacks a little bit. Like Brandon Miller to me is like sort of a 2 guard. I think Franz has 2 guard, kind of attributes. And I think Zion can certainly handle and play some point. But I wouldn't say that I have like a tried and true like scoring guard, right? So I'm going to take Tyler Hero here and just get the guy that I feel like can go get me buckets if I need that option.
It's so wild that he's still available. Like he could be chosen, that he's that young.
Oh, you're just saying age-wise that he's even eligible for it.
Yeah.
So I know you said you listened, but Garland is actually, I think him and Garland are the 2.
Yeah.
Garland, I think they're, me and Hero share a birthday. So yeah, Hero's actually the oldest player that we'll take by 6 days. He's 6 days older than Garland.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Yeah, they're both January birthdays. So
okay. Bryce, you're up at 29.
Oh man. So like I'll be completely transparent. Like Kuminga is the most talented player. Not the most talented. Kuminga is the guy that I want to draft, but he just makes 0 sense for what I have on my roster. Yeah. What makes the most sense is a point guard. Like that's where I'm lacking, is having a point guard in the second. I'm not taking a center, so you're gonna have to change that because I'm not gonna take a center. I'll just be a little bit small here. I'm gonna just have to count on Suggs playing some of that as I stagger minutes. We've talked about Paulo playing with the ball, Scotty playing with the ball. I actually was going to take a similar approach to you, Sam, in terms of just going complete upside, potential scorer, bucket getter, seeing what happens. And so I don't love this, but I am going to take Jalen Green here and just have that option off the bench if I need that kind of scoring punch. And I feel like I have enough defense to insulate that into the floor if I do have to go there in non-maxi minutes.
Okay. I don't mind it. Talent-wise, it's a decent selection talent-wise.
Yeah.
Okay, number 30, Andrew, you are up.
So this is your 10th guy on your roster. One, they got to bring great vibes. Two, they got to be okay with not soaking up a lot of minutes and being a guy that has the ball a lot. So there are players here that I think are more talented than the player that I will take. I think like Jonathan Kuminga is probably one that's gone a little bit underrated.
Oh, I know who you're taking. Oh,
I don't think Kuminga would be super happy not playing big minutes on my team. Same for RJ Barrett. Shout out to those guys. I am going to take. I don't know if you know or not. I'll be very interested if this is the guy that you think that I'm going to take. I'm going to take Jaime Jaquez with my pick. Shout out to Pau Gasol, who called him Jamie Jaquez in the Rising Stars draft. I almost just called him Jamie Jaquez just for the draft, but yeah, just a guy that I think he's versatile. He's a winner, and I think that he would be okay just waving a towel if you asked him to.
So as you were leaning into that, I texted you guys the player that I thought Andrew was going to take.
Oh, let me look at my phone.
I was very convinced.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely considered him. He also would be great. I just have a lot of guards, especially after I took Garland. Like if I didn't get Garland and Pajemski, then I probably would have considered taking Case and Wallace here, but yeah. I still feel like I need a little bit more versatility than what Kaysen can bring. Because he's only 6'3". He's pretty small.
He is small. It's an interesting group of talent that you have accumulated. Bryce, before we break down the slots in the draft, because I have to make some adjustments here to the board.
Yeah. Yep.
Overall thoughts on how this went.
So as you mentioned, we drafted everybody in our top 24. And remember, this was a completely different context. This is why I pitched this idea to you. Other than Scoot, Kuminga, and Reed Shepherd.
Yeah.
On my personal board, we pretty much went 30 of 31. Like Kuminga's the one guy I would have guessed would get drafted that didn't. So 29 of 30 where Jaquez got in there instead of Kuminga. So like these were the names I assumed. I thought this would be difficult trying to build out rosters that made sense, and it proved to be so. Like, I don't love my roster and how I had to build it out. I don't love that LaMelo Ball, like as much as we kind of joke, I don't love that somebody that talented went 21, but it just, when you're trying to actually build a team, you can only have so many primary creators that are going to, how many of those guys are going to ask to go play off the ball? So that's why I thought it would be fun. It was what I was hoping it was going to be.
Andrew, your thoughts before we go through and talk about the teams.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. I think just the strategy of, who do you choose with your first couple picks, then how do you build a team around those guys?
Yeah.
How do you best see fit to build around guys like Wemby and Ant Edwards and Zion and Chet. I mean, I think, it's interesting and it's difficult, especially whenever you're limited to a list like this, because a lot of these guys, we don't even know who they're going to be, in the next, 5 years. If we were to push this out 5 years, some of these names would look just so goofy that we had them on here. And then some guys that didn't get chosen will be like, I can't believe they didn't pick that guy. I mean, there's still a lot to be written about these guys' careers as we move forward. So that makes it an even harder exercise to figure out who is a role player, because a lot of these guys that are on this list, most of them do not consider themselves role players. Or, I'm sure their representation does not think of themselves as role players. And
No.
so it does make team building overall more difficult, because a lot of like the best role players are guys that have already been in the league for 7 to 10 years.
Well, and to your point, Andrew, we've seen these guys in such different contexts, right? Like to your Cade Cunningham point earlier, like we joked, but we've never seen him in competitive basketball setting. You know, all he's done has been a part of awful teams with no floor spacing that lost, compared to, my point guard, Tyrese Maxey, who we just saw, we've seen him in 4 different playoffs and in big moments and really perform, and the Thunder guys and all of that. Like even Victor we have seen him in a playoffs, like we saw him in the Olympics. So I think we have a vibe for what he can be, but these guys have all been in such different contexts so far in their career. It's hard to project kind of like, hey, go win a championship, and who fits best into that idea of what helps a team win. So it makes it even more difficult.
Yeah. So let's kind of jump in and talk through these selections. So Anthony Edwards went first to Andrew. He then selected Tyrese Halliburton at 6, Jalen Williams at 7, Derek Lively at 12, Trey Murphy at 13, Evan Mobley at 18, Jaden McDaniels at 19, Darius Garland at 24, Brandon Pajemski at 25, Jaime Jaquez at 30. Bryce took Victor Wembanyama at number 2. He then took Tyrese Maxey at number 5, Paulo Banchero at number 8, Scotty Barnes at number 11, Jalen Suggs at 14, Keegan Murray at 17, Jabari Smith at 20, Jalen Johnson at 23, Devin Vassell at 26, Jalen Green at 29. I took Zion Williamson at number 3, Chet Holmgren at number 4, Franz Wagner at number 9, Cade Cunningham at number 10, Brandon Miller at 15, Alperen Şengün at 16, LaMelo Ball at 21, Amen Thompson at 22, Denny Avdia at 27, Tyler Hero at number 28. Okay, so I'm going to give each of you the floor to make a case for your team, what you do well, and why you will win. Bryce,
this is like
you go first.
This is the anti of my personality. I don't want to do this. So as I look at this, I feel like my front court is the best here. Victor being a trump card, especially I will give Andrew, his guards, his perimeter, but I think Victor and Paulo are much better than Lively and Trey Murphy. My starting lineup has enough star power and a driver of offense in Maxey, along with the defensive anchor and the perimeter defenders in Suggs and Murray. And again, the floor spacing around that. And then while my second unit as a second unit may not make sense, I have all of these interchangeable parts, these wings. Some can space the floor, some can defend, some can do both. They can pass the ball, they rebound, and then a couple of guys in the backcourt that can really come in and score if that is what we need. And so, yeah, I'm not going to say I have the best team. Hopefully I have the best team. We'll see what people think. But that's where I ended up with this.
Andrew, give the case for your team.
Listen, if we're talking about team, I think I'm the only one that really cares about actually having a team here. Listen, there's a clear hierarchy that exists within my team. I think my bench has a lot of guys that are willing to do whatever you need. What?
Who was your number 1?
I mean, Anthony Edwards.
So Tyrese is going to feel good about that?
Tyrese already put out there that he's just happy to be a part of the.
That was in the Olympics. Whenever he was with
he's gonna have a great role on our team. Our best passer on the team. He's gonna be throwing oops to Derek Lively all the time.
J-Dub has to play third fiddle now instead of second fiddle. That's a step back.
He knows how to do that. He's great. He's good. We're good. Don't worry about us. We're doing just fine.
I was just asking.
We're doing just fine here. I feel like we have enough shooting on the wing. And then the fact that I get to bring Evan Mobley off the bench is just like this defensive ace. I think will really help. Just in case Derek Lively is not ready, maybe the first playoff run was an aberration. Who knows? But I do like the end of my bench having Darius Garland, Pajemski, and Jaime Jaquez as like this like three-headed monster of versatility coming off the bench, I think is nice. And like everybody really outside of Mobley and Lively can shoot it, which is kind of like one of the biggest things to me is like these guys everybody's going to at least take threes and space the floor in some capacity. And so like that was really important to me, especially after taking Edwards. Like you got to clear the lane for him, and having a lob threat and clearing the lane for him on the wing, I think was really important for me. So getting screen setters and then shooters was important. So yeah, and everybody can do a little bit of everything too, which is also important to me. So I think I accomplished a lot of that with this roster.
So to give the case for my team, going third, I kind of knew that I would be at a disadvantage not having Ant or Victor. So I felt like I had to build the most versatile team possible that would match up best with your teams. And in this case, my theory was I want a team of ass kickers and versatile long defenders. I think that having Zion and Şengün, those two are just going to like beat the shit out of the guys that you have on the interior, like both of your teams. Those two guys are the two most physical players in this like under or 24 and under kind of thing. I think I have enough shooting to make it work. I'm betting on a big Franz Wagner bounce back season as a shooter. Shot 35 and 36% from three over the course of his first two seasons. Was terrible last season as a shooter for some reason, but still gets guarded because he is such a good on-ball player in ball screens, in addition to being a really sharp cutter. You always have to pay attention to where he is on the court. Brandon Miller can really shoot the ball. I think Cade can shoot the ball. I'm not as worried about Cade shooting as what everyone else is, especially off the catch. Cade or Chet is obviously the best shooting big in this entire draft. LaMelo can obviously go away and fire and knock down shots. Tyler Hero can knock down shots. Denny can knock down shots. That's more of a question to me, but I think that Denny's at least somebody who knocked down 39% from three last season. My goal was versatility and switchability, in the ability to not give up any mismatches, basically. And in this roster, I have nobody under like 6'5.5". Cade is 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan. Hero, I think, is 6'5.5", something like that. Hero is my 10th man. So in my top 9, I don't have anybody under 6'6", which is a big, important thing that I wanted. I think I have the most versatile team in terms of defense. I think I have the most versatile team in terms of like overall matchup ability. And I think I have the team of like ass kickers with Zion and Alperen. I will always have one of Zion and Alperen on the court. And thus I will be able to just like go through whoever you guys have on the court.
It'd be great because they were both ready and available in April last
year. Look,
yeah. So when he has to play a min at the 4 and Denny at Denny at the 5, his floor spacing is out the window.
I think that I can stagger lineups and make things work. I think I also have the best rebounding team by far between Şengün, Chet, and Zion. And like Wagner is big at the very least. Amen is an awesome. He's, if not the best rebounding guard that was taken, certainly among the best rebounding guards that were taken. Jalen Williams, the one weakness of his game is that he's not a great rebounder. Trey Murphy, not a great rebounder. Jaden McDaniels, not an awesome rebounder for being as big as he is. I think I'm going to kick Andrew's ass on the glass. And then Bryce's team. I mean, Victor's a great rebounder. I'm not going to besmirch Victor's name, but Jabari's a solid rebounder. You have some other guys that are like okay rebounders. Nothing crazy. I think that I will win on the glass. Out of everybody here.
The Thunder proved last year you don't need to be a good rebounding team to win games.
It's true.
So
it's a fair point.
And in fact, I think that they tried not to rebound sometimes and win. So
it was quite effective. Yeah, wasn't it?
So complete transparency, I thought Chet was going to fall to me at 5. I was really hoping that I was going to get to my whole day was spent matching Victor and Chet together and then just building things out from there. So much so I almost took Mobley irrationally early just to do the same idea.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't so like I thought that Zion was by far the highest upside player. And there is not once Victor went, there's actually not another big to pair him with.
Yeah.
That works super well. So I think if you're going to take Zion, you basically have to take Chet in order to make it work.
Yeah.
Which is why I did.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah.
Who went too low and who went too high in your guys' opinion?
I mean, I think that I probably stopped the slide on Şengün and LaMelo.
Yeah.
Those are probably the two to me that like really probably went lower than what was anticipated. I think from a talent perspective, in terms of depth, like my top 7, I think is the most talented top 7 because I stopped those two guys from falling. But like the fit of the roster is like a little bit more questionable.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. Cade went way higher than I thought he would.
I had to take a point.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that like, and that's where things are interesting, right?
Yeah. I figured that you would take Halliburton at 5
instead of Maxey.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Would you have taken Maxey at 6 then, Andrew?
Yeah, no? I wasn't sure what Andrew would do at 6 then.
You would have taken Maxey?
Yeah, I would have taken Maxey and J-Dub. Yeah.
Okay.
So Sam would have got left in the same situation regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically I had no chance to get like one of the primary, ball handlers in Maxey and Halliburton or Ant, and like no chance at Victor, basically was the kind of constraints I had to work with here. So yeah, like I had to just go all versatility and prey at the end of the day.
I wonder how far would Paulo have gone if I wouldn't have taken him? Could you have taken him at 9 and 10, Sam?
I was going to line up Zion at point, and then I wouldn't have taken Cade, and I would have taken Franz and had it be Paulo, Franz, Zion, and Chet.
So you would have taken him there still,
which would have been an insane grouping. I'm aware, but
see, I kind of thought about doing that, just like going straight, like just something silly, like trying to make it work, but 6'10" or bigger or something like that.
Yeah.
And just really having fun with it.
So, someone asked me why take Cade over Garland.
I thought about that one also.
I think Cade is going to be better than Garland next year. And B, again, I wanted no like potential mismatch issues except from like my 10th man. Like I wanted pure versatility in terms of like switchability and size and everything like that. So, okay, this was fun. This was great. We'll do this again at some point. Yeah. But more importantly, Bryce,
trivia time, baby.
It's trivia time.
Okay. Today's trivia is my chance to get back at Andrew Schlecht. No, we're switching it up. So we are doing a list.
Personally.
Yeah, I hate trivia and I hate being sound stupid and dumb and all that. So
I love how you hate trivia and you created a trivia segment on the podcast, by the way.
Well, yeah, because I don't have to answer the questions.
It's to shield himself from answering the questions.
All I do is have a sheet of paper and I just mark things off. Okay, so this is going to be a list. We're looking for the top 10 isolation players during the regular season with only these 2 caveats: 2 or more isolation possessions per game, and they had to have played 50 games this last season. Okay. So this isn't a crazy list. There are 37 eligible players. What I'm asking for you to, in alternating order, is the top 10 in points per possession, not points per game, points per possession. Okay. So isolation tracking on NBA.com, top 10 regular season, 2+ per game, 50 games played, points per possession. Everybody understand the criteria?
I do.
Yes.
Andrew, as the guest of this Game Theory podcast, I will let you go first.
Is Shea on this list?
Shea is number 3 on this list at 1.1 points per possession. 1 point for Andrew Schlecht.
My first guess is DeMar.
DeMar is number 4 on this list at 1.10 points per possession. Andrew, back to you.
Okay. In isolation.
Yep, isolation only. This is via NBA.com. You go there, you go to play types, isolation. Yep.
Okay. What about Kawhi Leonard?
Kawhi Leonard, number 1. Any guesses on his points per possession this year?
I'm going to guess it was like 1.35 or something
So,
absurd.
It was 1.2, which is absurd considering second place was 1.13.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right. Oh, shit. The 50 game sample has me thrown here.
Yep. There. Yep. Remember the 50 game sample?
Because my next guess was Embiid.
Joel,
did he play 50 games?
Joel must not have played 50 games.
Okay. Then in that case, I will take Jokic.
Nikola Jokic, not in the top 10. Let me see
Wow.
where he is on the list. So via these tracking numbers, Nikola Jokic didn't even meet the criteria.
Whoa. Oh, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that does make
that
sense.
tracks. 2+ isolation possessions per game.
Yep.
How many did you say hit this criteria?
There are 37 players on my list.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's not as many players as you would think. Like 2 ISO possessions a game narrowed the field down. Yeah, significantly.
Yeah.
Andrew, you are up and you get a chance to take a commanding lead.
Yes.
Tatum.
Jason Tatum comes in at number 10.
Whoo.
So this thing broke right at 1.04 points per possession, which was Tatum. 11th place is at 1.03. So this broke perfectly for us.
Wow.
All right. So my next guess is Kyrie.
Kyrie, number 7. Kyrie Irving comes in at 1.08 points per possession. So we have 5 of the top 10 already, guys. We have number 1 Kawhi, 3 Shea, 4 DeRozan, 7 Kyrie, and 10 Tatum. So we were looking for 2, 5, 6, 8, and 9.
What about Kyrie's teammate, Luka Doncic?
Luka Doncic, 1 place above him at number 6, 1.09.
Wow.
So Andrew has 4, Sam has 2 with 4 players on the board.
ISO icon Kevin Durant is my next guess.
Kevin Durant, not in the top 10.
Wow.
Kevin Durant comes in at number 25 at
That's a stunner.
0.94.
All right, Andrew, you get a shot to end it.
No, this would only I'd have to come up with a tiebreaker on the spot.
Okay.
What about James Harden?
James Harden, number 2 on the list.
Yes.
Him and Kawhi.
Oh, that's a disaster.
1.13. So we now have number 1 Kawhi, number 2 Harden, number 3 SGA, number 4 DeMar DeRozan, number 6 Luka, 7 Kyrie, 10 Tatum. Sam has 5. Excuse me. Andrew has 5. Sam has 2 with 3 players left.
Devin Booker is my next guess.
Devin Booker is not in our top 10 on this list. Jeez. Devin Booker, though, Sam comes in at number 14 at 0.99. Close one.
That's a disaster.
Oh, boy.
Right, now Andrew gets to end it.
Andrew can end it with his next correct guess.
Shoot. What about De'Aaron Fox?
De'Aaron Fox, not in the top 10. De'Aaron Fox comes in at number 12 at 1.01.
So for what it's worth, Andrew, De'Aaron was my next guess. So that was a good one.
Very good guess.
I'm going to go with, man, I'm like trying to think of like really fucking good ISO players. Anthony Edwards?
Anthony Edwards, not in the top 10. Anthony Edwards, number 27.
Yikes.
0.93.
0.93. What about Zion?
We have a winner, Zion Williamson, number 9 at 1.04.
Yes.
Yikes.
So final two. One is a
I'll say my next.
Sure.
My next one was Brunson.
Brunson, not in the top 10.
Yikes.
Brunson.
Actually, I think Brunson ended up towards the bottom of this list. Yeah, 30th at 0.88.
Wow.
So let's round out the top 10 and then we'll get some interesting names outside the top 10. One is a mid-range. Not just mid-range. A little bit of mid-range, yeah. Eastern Conference team.
Mid-range Eastern Conference team.
He's not DeRozan mid-range. That's not a good hint. He's just not a big-time three-point shooter. Not Cade. Older player.
Oh, is it Middleton?
No.
Okay. Older player.
Older.
He's pretty old. We've talked about him a lot recently and what this team is going to do with him, considering his contract situation.
Randall?
Not mid-range was a bad hint. Get rid of just not a big time 3-point. Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy.
Okay. Good answer.
Yeah, Jimmy. And then I'm just going to tell you the last one because I don't think you guys will get it. DeJounte Murray was number 5.
Yeah, interesting.
DeJounte Murray.
Yep. Murray was 5. Butler was 8. So interesting names. Clarkson was 13th.
Honestly, was within the next 3 names or so mentally for me.
Wow.
Yeah. He just had a bad year shooting last year, which made me not do it.
How about these? Jaren Jackson Jr. was 15th. Bam Adebayo was 16th.
Huh.
Karl Towns was 18th. And then at the bottom of the list, 37th, Jeremy Grant, 36, Kuzma, 35, Cade Cunningham, 34, Şengün, 33, Jalen Green, 32, Tyrese Maxey, 31, Miles Bridges, number 30, Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, Jaren Jackson, ISO ball.
So Bam's is funny. Bam barely made the 2 criteria. Literally 2.0 isolation possessions per game.
Huh.
Jaren's was 3.3.
Wow.
I mean, they had nobody else.
They had no choice.
We're going down this year.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's more than. Yeah. So the top 10, Tatum had 6.4.
Who was last on this list
for points per possession?
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant, 0.72.
Okay. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
that tracks.
Yeah, not. I watched that for a couple of years. Not his thing.
Well, folks, Andrew, again, as you can see on the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, which, by the way, watch on YouTube, go hit the subscribe on that YouTube channel. It is a glorious, fun time to get to watch us do this show, where you get to watch me get very frustrated as players get drafted that I wanted, or as Andrew beats my ass in trivia yet again, which he does on his show regularly when I'm on there. I think at one point I came back and got it to 4-3 or something.
Yeah.
And then the last 3 or 4 times that I've been on, you've just completely whipped my ass. So it is not ideal. But Bryce, well, first, let's go guests first. Andrew, tell the people where they can find your work and your shows that you host.
Yeah, go listen to Down to Dunk. It's a Thunder podcast. We're still going strong 3 days a week on the Down to Dunk feed. So go check that out. If you're just desperate for basketball content, we're bringing it to you. And then also go listen to the Athletic NBA show. We very much appreciate that.
Bryce, tell the people where they can find your work.
Yeah, at Motor City Hoops on Twitter. Just follow over there, and then you can find anything I put out on Substack, podcast, anything like that. Things a little bit slower right now, but as soon as NBL games start, NBA games, all that, I'll be doing game breakdowns, game notes, scouting reports, all of that stuff. Doing more podcasts once the football season is over for me, but still some content. So follow there.
We're closing in on NBL, Bryce.
We've got
next week, I'm heading up to the Gold Coast, going to get to see my guy Rocco Zakarski. Really, our guy Malik Lewis. Like we both love Malik Lewis in a real way.
Yes. Yes.
Fun, very fun player. All the other guys, Alex Tui. I'm excited to see Tui. I've gotten, for what it's worth, I've gotten really positive reports on Alex Tui coming out of like Sydney and the Australian basketball community. So I'm really excited to see him as well. Go to The Athletic, as Andrew said. Andrew's my colleague over there. Keep us employed. We love working over there, and it's really fun. So go to The Athletic, hit the subscribe button over on the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button over on Spotify, Apple, whatever podcasting platform you use. I think that's all we got, though, for now, guys. Until next time, we'll talk soon.